Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn something very different from whatever we have been learning in the past few weeks. Today we are going to learn about hydrology. So, hydrology includes the hydrosphere or the sphere which contains water. Now, the Earth is the only planet in the solar system to have water in abundance. That is why the Earth is known as a watery planet or a blue planet. Water makes life possible on the Earth, and the hydrosphere is the water sphere. Hydrosphere contains all the water which is present on the Earth, and also it includes all the surface water, including soil and groundwater. So all the water which is found on the Earth, which contains the surface water, that includes the rivers, from the waterfalls, streams, lakes, the rainfall, and of course the ocean, all are included in the hydrosphere. It consists of liquids in sedimentary rocks, rivers, oceans, continental ice sheets, liquid droplets of rain, as well as that of ice crystals. Hydrosphere is one of the realms of the Earth. Atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere are all interlinked. The term hydrosphere is generally used in the comparison and contrast with the lithosphere and the atmosphere. All these spheres or the realms or the domains of the Earth, which includes the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, the lithosphere, as well as the biosphere, are all interlinked by the hydrological cycle. Now, as far as the distribution of land and water is concerned, now about 225 million years ago, all the continents were joined together. See over here how all the major continents are forming one large mass, which is known as Pangaea. That land mass, it was known as the Pangaea. It was a supercontinent, and Pangaea was surrounded by a vast ocean known as the Panthalassa. Later on, they started to disintegrate. When they started to disintegrate 200 million years ago, Pangaea was first divided into two major land mass, that is Laurasia in the east and Gondwana land in the south. As time went on, about 130 million years ago, North and South America began to drift westwards, and the Atlantic Ocean was formed. The Indian Ocean was formed as Australia drifted towards the east, giving rise to the Indian Ocean. The Indian Peninsula started to drift towards the northeast, as you have already learned in your previous chapters, and the continents and the oceans came into being. So this is how the earth looks now. Land and water are not uniformly distributed over the earth. About 71% of the earth is covered with water. There is more of water and less of land, and only 29% of land. You look the earth, you will find that how there is nearly 3/4 of the earth is covered with water and only 1/4 of it is covered with land. Now, when we examine the distribution of land and water on the globe, we notice a number of outstanding features. Now, there is an antipodal balance of land and water on directly opposite sides of the earth or of the globe. For example, in your book, it's given that how the northern part, that is northern area of the earth, has got water, while the southern part has got one continent, that is Antarctica. Now that is one example which is given in your book. Now look at the example which is given and displayed on your screen. We have North America, and the antipodes of North America, that is the antipodal area of North America, is the Indian Ocean. So the land is being balanced by water. Similarly, parts of Africa, Eurasia is on one side, and on the opposite of it we have the Pacific Ocean. So the Pacific Ocean is the antipodal area of the continents of Africa and parts of Eurasia. The continents have they are triangular in shape. So when you look at the continents, you will find that they are roughly triangular in shape, with their bases in the north, that is, they have most of their bases are in the north and their apex are towards the south. They are all pointed towards the south, and most of them are narrowest in the southern hemisphere. Antarctica and Australia are, however, exceptions. On the contrary, the oceans are roughly triangular in shape, having their bases in the south and their vertex in the north. That is, they are broader in the south and they are pointed towards the north, just the opposite to that of the continent. Oceans are more extensive in the southern hemisphere. That is, to the south of the equator, we have more areas of water and less areas of land. While in the north, we have got more areas of land and less areas of water. The gap between Antarctica and southern parts of the continents from the Southern Ocean keeps the continent isolated. Antarctica has got 3 protruding areas, one extending towards South America, the second towards Africa, and the third towards Australia. Oceanography is the science and study of oceanic phenomena. The 5 important oceans in order of their size are Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Southern Ocean, Indian Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. See over here very clearly, we have the largest ocean, which is the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, between the Americas and Africa and Europe, which is the second largest ocean. Indian Ocean is the third largest, followed by the Southern Ocean, and then we have the Arctic Ocean. Now, as far as the importance of oceans are concerned, oceans comprise nearly 70% of the Earth's surface, and they occupy 70% area of the Earth. That is almost 3/4 of the total surface of the Earth, while land is only 1%. Now, oceans are a source of moisture. Winds blow over the oceans, carry the moisture, forming water vapor, which causes rainfall. Oceans also help in controlling the temperature. They have a great impact on the climate of the coastal area. Oceans are able to store up heat. The Earth gives out a large amount of heat by the emission of carbon dioxide and several other gases. Now, all that heat which is produced and also absorbed by the Earth is actually being stored by the ocean. Oceans are able to store the heat and then distribute it. Thus, ocean water can moderate the high temperatures of the summer season and low temperature of the winter season. So, because of this circulation process which occurs in the oceans, oceans are able to keep the temperature of the coastal areas very moderate. However, areas which are far away from the seas are having a very extremes of climate or the continental type of climate. For example, central part of Asia, central part of North America, central part of Africa, Australia, all these areas being far away from the continents, far away from the seas and oceans, they experience a very high temperature during the summer and very low temperature during the winters. Now, as far as the effects of currents are concerned, currents also help in modifying the temperature and humidity of different areas. For example, warm current increases the temperature and humidity of the area, while the cold currents reduce the temperature or decrease the temperature of the coastal areas along which they flow. Ocean routes. Oceans not only separate continents and islands, but they also serve to connect one continent to another, providing the cheapest and easy means of transport. In this GIF, we can see how the transporting of goods used to take place from Europe through Mediterranean Sea and also through the Suez Canal to India and other far eastern parts of the continent of Asia. Elsewhere, we find that ocean highways are common. They help us to have travel routes between places from Europe to America, which is one of the busiest ocean routes. Also through the Panama Canal, which is in Panama. So the long and arduous route from Africa or Europe to the western part of North America was cut down due to the Panama Canal route, which is found in Panama over here. The oceans are storehouse of minerals, both metallic as well as non-metallic. Salt is an important mineral which is found and obtained from the sea. Other minerals like gold, diamond, sulfur and raw materials are also found in the sea. Large amount of minerals are found in the sea. It is said that billions of tons of gold is actually dissolved in the ocean water. However, we do not have the means to extract it economically. Elsewhere, we find petroleum and natural gas to be obtained from the sea floor. This is a picture of Bombay High, which is an important oil producing region in India located offshore of the Arabian Sea. Oceans are also largest source of fishes. Most of the fishing grounds are the shallow continental shelf. Here we can see the continental shelf. Most of the fishing is done over here, where the sunlight can penetrate. So these are ideal conditions for the reproduction and growth of fishes. Some marine plants and animals are also used to make medicines, and they are being obtained from the continental shelf. Oceans are also providing us with wave energy, tidal energy. Now, the alternate rising and falling of the level of the sea and ocean water is used to produce electricity. This is how we are producing tidal energy, by having turbines under the water which move very fast, especially during times of high tide, and they are able to generate or harness this energy and change it into electricity. Such kind of tidal energy is being harnessed in Russia, France, Japan, and even in India, where pilot projects have been started in Gulf of Khambat and Gulf of Kutch in Gujarat. Elsewhere, we find the difference of temperature of the surface and subsurface water can also be used to generate energy with the help of floating generators. Oceans also act as a recreation center. They are major recreational centers in the ocean and seas, which are scattered all over the world. People go for snorkeling, scuba diving, or they just go to relax along the beaches of the seas as a part of their recreation or during holidays. As far as the salinity of the oceans are concerned, we find that on an average, the salinity of the ocean is about 35 grams per 1000 grams of water. However, this salinity keeps on changing or differs from place to place. For example, in those areas where large rivers are emptying themselves into the ocean, the salinity tends to decrease. Or in areas where there is heavy precipitation, heavy rainfall, there also a huge amount of fresh water is added into the sea and the salinity is comparatively less. But in those areas where the rate of evaporation is very high, the salinity is found to be very high. And where the water is freezing, there also it has been found the brackish or the saltiness of the region is pretty high. Apart from this, you are supposed to know that we have 5 major oceans, and these oceans we have already talked about. They are found over here, that is parts of Pacific Ocean, which is the largest ocean. Then we have the Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Southern Ocean and Arctic Ocean. Now all these oceans are of great importance for us, which we have just now learnt. So today we learnt about the importance of oceans and why is the hydrosphere so significant to us. Let us remember that whatever water which we are using have actually come from outer space. So when the earth was in its initial stage of formation, there were large areas which were being bombarded by asteroids. And these asteroids not only collided against the earth, but they also brought large amount of water with them, which was in the form of frozen ice. And all this got melted later on to form oceans, which became more prominent with time because of the atmosphere, which started to give us the hydrological cycle. So that is what we have enough time for today. Thank you.